shit.
Welcome back to the Mantry podcast. I'm your host, Reggie Milligan. This podcast is all about helping you cook better. And today we focus on 5 underrated cooking tips to help you impress even yourself. Now, this podcast is meant to be listened to on the go, so we can teach you how to cook without necessarily bogging up your time with cookbooks or having to sit down or read anything. Throw this on when you're commuting, throw this on when you're cleaning, and slowly but surely you'll pick up a couple more tips every week. And when you get into the kitchen, you'll be even more ready to go. So let's cover today's episode, 5 underrated cooking tips to help you impress even yourself. And to start off, here's a quote from the one and only Julia Child. Quote, "If you're afraid of butter, use cream." So number 1, very simple tip, compound butter. Fat is a vessel for flavor. Now, compound butter, which basically is just a flavored butter, a hunk of butter that you've mixed in different ingredients. So you can fold in next to anything into room temp, grass-fed butter, and roll it into a log. And you roll it into kind of almost a tube shape, and then you chill it. And after it comes out of the refrigerator, you can cut it off into coins when you need. But if you Google something like Café de Paris butter, which is amazing on steaks, that's with shallots, parsley. There's usually a little bit of vinegar in there as well. Or you can make a simple chili lime butter by folding in chopped chilies, fresh lime juice into butter, chilling it again, rolling it into that log. You can use a little lime zest in there as well. The options are really endless. You can pretty much fold anything into butter. Another great one, honeycomb and pecan. That's great on pancakes. But you've got endless options. Compound butter is an amazing trick. It's a sauce in itself. So a quick Google search and you'll have numerous options for how to make it. Usually 3 or 4 step recipes that take no time at all. Tip number 2, preheat that sheet. So one really great tip for getting great crispiness on your roasted veg, on your baked fries, all that stuff, is to drizzle a little grapeseed oil on a baking sheet and toss it in the oven for 10 minutes at, let's say, 375, 400 degrees. And do that before you roast sweet potatoes or root vegetables. And by doing that, you get the pan smoking hot. So it almost acts as a skillet. So when you're roasting off the potatoes, the preheated pan, you get a really nice crisp exterior on anything you're roasting. Very simple trick. Just preheat your baking sheets whenever you're roasting vegetables or even meats or fish. And the result is way crispier and it cooks faster. And a great secondary tip to this would be for Yorkshire Puddings, famous accompaniment to prime rib in English kitchens. You use a muffin tin, and if you get the muffin tin smoking hot beforehand by throwing a little oil in the bottom there, when you put in the batter, they'll puff up huge. Number 3, blanch green veg. So you ever wonder why the spring pea soup or the asparagus salad is neon green at fancy restaurants? It's blanching. And there's science behind it. But all you really need to know is that if you drop any green veg, green beans, asparagus, whatever it needs to be, into heavily salted water at a rolling boil, and then take it out after 10 to 15 seconds and plunge it into ice water, you'll have bright broccoli, any type of green veg right away. It goes from basically 0 to Instagram worthy, looks like it has a crazy filter on it just through science. So blanching veg is a really great tip for making things really pop on the plate. It's great. Like if you're doing, like, let's say a niçoise salad and you got your green beans in there, do a quick blanch, they'll pop off the plate. And they also soften it up a bit, obviously, so it's not like a raw ingredient. You're not putting like a raw bean on the plate, or with broccoli, same thing. You're not putting like raw broccoli in a salad or whatnot. So a quick blanch will go a long way for color and also transforming it a little bit to make it a little bit more satisfying to eat. Number 4, really great tip that a lot of people don't really think about a lot. adding smoke without a smoker. So, liquid smoke is disgusting. Don't ever use that stuff. But smoked salts and sugars can really impart a smoky depth in seconds. A couple products we love: Alaska Pure Alderwood Smoked Sea Salt. That's out of Alaska. They basically take amazing quality flake sea salt from Sitka, Alaska waters, and then they smoke it over alderwood. Another example, bourbon smoked sugar from our friends down at Bourbon Barrel Foods. They slow smoke brown Demerara sugar over old bourbon casks. It really gives it this deep smokiness. And you can sprinkle everything from onto a steak, or the bourbon smoked sugar is especially good with like grilled peaches. It's great over ice cream. But they're really, really simple ways to impart a great depth of smokiness into any dish without breaking out the smoke or cooking everything over live fire. So adding smoke a little without a smoker, look at smoked sea salt and smoked sugar. Last tip today, let's talk about salad dressing. This is the probably number one rule in making a salad dressing. It's the 3-to-1 rule. And that basically says that you can make almost any dressing with 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. And it really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter what oils you use. You can use avocado oil, you can use grapeseed oil, you can use olive oil, you can use a nut oil. If you cut it with 1/3 vinegar or acid, whether that's going to be champagne vinegar or lemon juice or lime juice or balsamic vinegar, just remember 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. Don't do it the other way around, or you're going to have a very, very acidic vinaigrette. But if you do 3-to-1, it'll always turn out great. And this is a simple restaurant secret. And like we said, olive oil and lemon juice, add a little hazelnut oil and some champagne vinegar. Another great one, warm bacon fat, which is basically like an oil, and apple cider vinegar. That's wonderful over frisee or some more bitter greens like radicchio. And you can throw in some fresh herbs at the end and cracked pepper if you really, really want to make it sort of take it to the next level. But you can make a simple dressing just out of what you have in your pantry by remembering the 3-to-1 rule. So that's it. There's your 5 tips for the day. Just to run through them one more time. Number 1, remember compound butters. That's a simple butter that has had ingredients folded into it. Throw it in the fridge. Roll it into a log, throw it in the fridge, and then chop off coins later and use as you make dishes. Number 2, preheat that sheet. Always get your baking sheet with a little oil ripping hot in the oven before you throw any roasted veg or anything on it. Speeds up the cooking time and helps develop a crispy exterior. Number 3, blanching veg. Very effective for pulling out the color of an ingredient like asparagus or broccoli. And also, it makes it a little bit easier to eat, so you're not putting raw veg on a plate. Number 4, add smoke without a smoker. Smoked salts and smoked sugars are a great use for that. And number 5, the 3-to-1 dressing rule. So that's it for today. Those are 5 simple tips. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, share it. We'll be doing these every week, different tips. Come join us. We'll give you a couple tips that you can get back into the kitchen with and make good stuff happen. So thanks for tuning in, and good luck cooking.